Every so often, I am asked, what is a spiritual director? And part of that's because the past season or few, I've been offering myself as a spiritual director to people. And when I talk with people, they kind of don't know what it is. So, this here is a series where I'm going to talk through a few different models for how I understand the role of a spiritual director and even maybe what spiritual direction is along the way. I think for me, first off, I need to say that I think a spiritual director is something like a post pastor. And by that, I mean that a pastor, as it's conventionally understood in the West, serves a purpose and is good for a certain season of life. There is a season where we should be learning and taking in information and maybe dealing with some coaching and some other things. But there needs to be something for after that phase. And some people call that phase like there's a dark night of the soul that can happen. Somebody hits up against a wall. We can use a whole bunch of different vocabulary, but the idea is that there might be a time at which a conventional understanding and fulfilling of the role of being a pastor is not what a person needs anymore. And so that's why I say a post pastor. What kind of pastor do you need after the normal kind of pastor? What kind of person do you need to sit with? And we actually have some models from movies and books and things. I made a list of them and see if you can notice something going on here. Rafiki from Lion King, Mr. John Keating from Dead Poet Society, Master Oogway from Kung Fu Panda, Sifu from Kung Fu Panda, Gandalf the Grey and Gandalf the White from Lord of the Rings, Albus Dumbledore, Sean Maguire from Good Will Hunting, Yoda from Star Wars, Obi-Wan, even Hagrid from Harry Potter. Now, all of those symbols, I guess you could say, all of those archetypes are in our collective consciousness, at least in the West, because we love these figures. And what we've done in the West is we have maybe come to a point where we have overemphasized information rather than wisdom. And it's fascinating because Teresa of Avila, who wrote Interior Castle, which is considered a spiritual classic, I myself have read it a number of times over the past, 10 years, says that if we can, it's good to sit down with someone who is well-versed in theology. And it's also good for us to, if we can find someone, sit down with someone who is well-versed in theology and spirituality. But then she says, I think something really unique. It's even better, or at bare minimum, finding somebody who's spiritual is better than finding somebody who's theological. And I think it's because sometimes we need a spiritual director, someone who can be a person outside of ourselves, who can help us navigate where our next right step needs to be. And sometimes the conventional role of a pastor, understood in the West, is that we go to those people to tell us what to do. And a spiritual director does not do that. Spiritual director tries to connect the person with a whole host of insights and wisdom from the tradition. And for me, that tradition is Christianity. And offers some golden nuggets, some wisdoms, some proverbs, some things that can be helpful along the way, but doesn't do the journey for you. And I think that's probably the first way I would describe what it means to be a spiritual director. It's something like a post pastor. So if that interests you, reach out to me. It'd be fun to do that with you. And maybe check out the rest of the series, because I'm going to talk through a few, all right? Yeah. Cheers.